All right.
And
All
we
right.
are
All right.
live. What's up,
Yeah,
everybody? It's your boy Big Daddy Mo.
what's up? I'm Levi L. Scribbler. Yeah. I thought I was gonna start it out. I mean, I brought the
Oh,
topic to the table, but
my
whatever.
bad. We didn't discuss that.
Yeah, we were busy rambling about other crap,
Yeah.
other random stuff.
All right,
Yeah,
you
but
you take it to you take it to.
so Brendan Fraser is an actor. I mean, we both have always really liked. He's always been entertaining, always been like a jewel.
He
And
did
then
Blast from the Past.
yes, Blast from the Past, Bedazzled, Tarzan.
Hold up.
It was Tarzan
Who's that?
or
Hold up. Oh
George
my
of the
lucky
Jungle.
stars, a Negro.
George of the Jungle. Yeah, it was just like all these iconic movies, and he just is always the lovable character. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't like Journey to the Center of the Earth. That's a very
Oh, hey, hold on. Are we talking about the Mummy? Or are we gonna be talking about just Brendan Fraser as a whole?
we're talking about Brendan Fraser in the amazing franchise of The Mummy,
Yeah.
and they're trying to remake it. But I just want to talk about Brendan Fraser to begin with. Brendan Fraser.
Okay, cool. You didn't like Journey to the Center of the Earth?
No, I did
I
not.
like that movie.
It honestly, I was watching it. It felt like it's a Universal ride. It was designed to sell rides at a theme park. That's what it looks like to
It
me.
sold me. If I wasn't afraid of heights, I'd have got on that bitch. Actually, no, afraid of heights. It's not like a roller coaster, is it? Because Universal is you're just sitting like the little 4DX thing, and then you got the stuff on the screen. All you just doing
They
is
have a
this.
few rides. I know they had a
Okay.
Jurassic Park water ride that would just basically you would drive through a jungle and then it had one drop as a
I'm-
T-Rex was coming out of the wall at you.
I'm so pissed. I lived in Los Angeles. Even went to the Universal Studios because I went there for a taping of The Voice, and it was right there. I'm just like, man, I need to go up in there one day. Never did.
Yeah,
feel
but I don't want to get into theme parks, but Disneyland has basically lost all its attraction because it all has to be 100% scheduled to do anything there.
Oh.
Even the fast pass, you have to schedule a fast pass. Now,
ain't nobody doing all
Universal,
that.
you go for fun because you can stand in a line, you can walk on in if you have a fast pass. There's not all this scheduling; it's just for fun. You go to what you want to do. It doesn't have to be 100% scheduled. You don't need basically someone who does scheduling coordination to schedule your vacation for you when you go to Universal.
Yeah.
But yes,
like I only saw Journey to the Center of the Earth once, but I enjoyed it. It was better than the second one with The Rock.
yeah. Well, of course. It's Brendan Fraser. Fraser, and the great part about that was both him and his nephew were fighting over the same girl.
I thought that was his. No, that wasn't his son.
No,
okay.
No, it was his brother's son. His brother.
But yeah, I did like that though. That was great.
Oh, and it was dark. I was expecting for them to find his father in the center of the earth.
I'm gonna see how much it costs.
Not his corpse. They found his corpse. I was devastated.
Hey, stop spoiling it. I only seen it once. I'm trying to see if I could watch it. I want to see how much it costs.
Yeah. So okay. Yeah, it is a fun movie. Brendan Fraser.
$10. It's $10. I ain't got the money.
Brendan Fraser makes that movie fun. He makes that movie a lot of fun because just thinking about it now, I'm like, oh, that was fun to watch. That was fun to watch. I didn't care for the rides and some of the action shots because they were there to sell rides, but it was a fun watch. It really was. But yeah, like his work in Bedazzled, that was amazing.
Oh, Elizabeth Hurley. Come on. If she was the devil, I would have sold my soul a million times. Man.
Well, it's funny because especially now we talk about people who can't act. She couldn't act. She basically was given the role because she was attractive. She was like, I don't know, probably one best, most attractive woman at that point in time. And she was given the role.
She still is.
Act. But Brendan Fraser sold that. He was able to be pathetic, terrified when he was the coke dealer, sad when he realized he had a small manhood. Just all the roles he
what
had.
The hell? Come on.
Honestly, I was sold when he played a gay man. I was sold at it. He kissed her and he's all, "Yep, I'm gay. I'm gay."
Bro, I love every little character that he played in that movie. He was great. I loved him as the Shaquille O'Neal basketball player, man.
Yeah.
You just got to give 110%. I love that movie. That's definitely one of his best.
The girl, the man every girl wants, sensitive, playing guitar, kind-hearted.
He said it before. He said it before everybody else. Don't nobody want that. Don't nobody want that. They say they do, and then look, he became that, and then they went to the asshole.
Yep.
Brendan Fraser was ahead of his time.
Never ask a girl what they want. They have no clue what they want. It's just
Damn.
like
That's one of my favorite Brendan Fraser movies, and I still didn't learn from it. I'm just, man, I failed you. But honestly, Blast from the Past is probably my favorite. And I'm talking about like one of his romance rom-coms. Blast from the Past. Like I remember in
George of the Jungle, dude. George of the Jungle.
I liked it. It was just Tarzan, but I did like it. I remember I think I was in 8th grade. I came back from like a long suspension. And then they were watching a movie and we had to do a test on it. And I'm like, what's we're watching what's the test on? Blast from the Past. I was like, bruh, I take this test. I don't need to watch the movie. I only got one answer wrong. I'm like, because I love this movie. Like Blast from the Past is a classic, dude. Christopher Walken, come on, man. You can't mess with that. Adam and Eve. And the dance scene. I love the dance. I'm about to watch that today. I love that.
Speaking of dancing, I just learned how to do that dance.
Really? That's a dance I wouldn't mind learning.
Yeah, I just learned. I could teach it to you, but of course I'd have to teach you the follow, not the lead.
Hell no.
Because I'd be leading.
No. Yeah, that ain't happening.
I just learned that dance, and I need to continue memorizing the steps because I want to be able to do that dance at least. But yeah, it's just he was the perfect, well-rounded guy, except for the fact that he had been hidden underground for 30 some odd years of his life.
Talking about Brendan. Oh, you talking about Adam and Blast from the Past?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Brendan Fraser has always been like he would always give 110% for his role. Like he has injured himself for doing the stunts they didn't have the right harnesses for, or he hadn't built up the right strength. Like he starved himself in George of the Jungle. He hurt himself holding onto the bridge because he was actually holding onto the bridge in The Mummy because they only had a set time because the police were called on them.
Yeah, you talking about in Mummy Returns?
You know yeah. The police were called on them for that scene because they were taking up the whole thing for too long. So he had to hold on to that with no harness or really anything. And yeah, so he injured his back right there. And same thing in the Journey to the Center of the Earth. There was a few spots where he wasn't really harnessed in properly. Or if he was still putting all his weight on the arm that was holding him up instead of the harness like most actors do. Like what is it in Captain America where he's holding on to the chopper, but all he's doing is flexing. He's not really holding on to it. Brendan Fraser would go the extra mile and actually pull it as if trying to strain something. And it looks more real. It always sold. But yeah, he's always been an amazing actor. And you know how he got blacklisted, right?
Was it about the fact that was it like some Hollywood exec try to sexually harass him or something like that?
Yep. It was the whole
he mentioned that. That's one of the reasons he never it's one of the reasons he never showed up to like all those fucking big award shows and all of that. But then again, he hasn't really done anything. I mean, like and like after the Mummy movies, like everything else he started doing was flopping, or he just did crap like Fury Vengeance.
That's what he had to do because he had been blacklisted and he was doing like the anything he could get a hold of.
Yeah. Now there was one role that he did that I did like. The movie sucked, but it was called I think it was called The Air I Breathe. And it's like one of those movies where it's like, all of these characters is like different stories and they all connect, Forrest Whitaker, I think it was Andy Garcia, and Brendan Fraser was a hitman that could tell the future. So yeah, like he could see his future though. So if he's getting ready to do something, then all of a sudden it's just like, okay, that's not going to work for me. But it wasn't like, it was like a big thing or whatever. But I liked the role. The movie sucked, but his role was good.
But that's the thing. Every role he plays, he always seems to do a good job at it. Yeah. He's always a fun actor to watch. Always been entertaining to watch.
I did like Gimme Shelter. It's Vanessa Hudgens. She's like homeless and she's pregnant. And then Brendan Fraser is her father. Great movie. I cried on that movie. Gimme Shelter with Vanessa Hudgens. Y'all should definitely watch that. That's a woo.
Yeah, but it wasn't only the fact that he was harassed. It was the whole Me Too movement that wasn't allowed for men because he came out during
Terry
the
Crews.
Yeah, about the whole thing, just like Terry Crews. Yeah, and Terry Crews was crucified for coming out, and Brendan Fraser got blacklisted. because men apparently can't be sexually harassed, and it was the double standard, which apparently started aggravating men who were in that kind of situation. You can't have a double harassment is harassment, whether you're a man or a woman.
And I'm not gonna lie, as much as I joke about it, like, man, a man can't, this can't. Yes, it can. Yes, it can.
Yeah.
That shit can happen.
Can. Yeah, whether it's like Terry Crews was harassed by another man, Brendan Fraser was harassed by another man.
And then, let's be real, like Terry Crews, you got this big black muscular dude, and let's be real, you got this big black muscular dude, and he got harassed. Now, if he sat there and beat his ass, he's gonna look like the aggressor, especially if the motherfucker like a skinny old white dude. Terry Crews is gonna be looked at as the aggressor. So yeah, when stuff like that happen, of course, motherfucker can't really do much or feel like he can't do nothing in that, so he is powerless. So yeah, when he did come out, and we're going off topic, but when he did come out, everybody made fun of him. Like 50 Cent made fun of him. It's just like, bro, like, come on, man.
It's pretty much still on topic because we're talking about Brendan Fraser.
Yeah.
But it's like, that's the thing. Anyone can be Me Too. Johnny Depp was basically Me Too'd. It just went the wrong direction because someone wanted to get the clout for it, for doing all the abuse, and got famous for it. Got famous for.
I heard she quit acting, by the way.
Yeah, she has to.
And she moved.
All the hate that came from it, because
as much as he's a piece of shit, she's still hot.
We have always been on Johnny Depp's side because Johnny Depp has just always seemed like a wholesome person.
And plus, I've seen the videos and all that stuff, and I'm just like, y'all in an argument, and Johnny Depp lost like a shit ton of money. I'd be mad too. I'd be throwing shit. As long as I'm not throwing a bottle at you, go to the other room. Let me, vent.
And all he was doing was just raising his voice, and then she basically grabs the camera and shuts it off. Probably when she was about to grab something to beat him with it.
I'm glad that's over. I'm glad. Let's bring Johnny Depp back into Hollywood. Like, come on now. Like,
he doesn't want to go back.
I don't blame him. He doesn't have to act no more. He has a great career.
Yeah, did you see his speech where he's all like, people are talking about how are you glad to be back in Hollywood? He was all, I never left. I live 30 minutes down the road. It just seems like people stop calling. And he basically made a comment about how if people want to do that, good for them, but he's no longer going to deal with the politics of Hollywood. He's out. If people approach him for a film, he'll do the film, but he will not get involved in Hollywood's politics.
I understand.
I was like, respect, because he doesn't want to deal with that headache. I was like, great.
Yeah.
Somebody who understands. But yeah, back to Brendan Fraser. So yeah, that's basically what happened to him. His whole career was ruined because he didn't apparently realize that only women can be harassed.
Yeah.
So yeah, his career was derailed, and he still continued to do things. But the sad thing was, because he wasn't working, his wife divorced him and was requesting like a couple thousand a month, and he couldn't make those payments for child support. He couldn't make those payments because he wasn't working himself. He was doing
with child support, but it was something like that to where the women always get something, and they say they don't get rights.
Well, it might have been for a way of life, where they get
I hate that. I'm sorry. This is the thing. If you've been with me forever, if you've been with me for the longest and all that, motherfucker, you, especially if I'm like in that situation, like in Hollywood, girl, you better give yourself a business. Don't just sit there and just, because ain't no telling what'll happen. You don't want nothing for yourself. You don't want your own business. You ain't about to be, eating off my shit.
Yeah, well, what thing
I'd be damned if I break up with you and I still got to pay you because you was used to living in a mansion. Get the fuck out of here. You no longer get that privilege. You're not with me, so you don't get my lifestyle.
Yeah, and don't forget, in the vows, it's like for rich or for poor. However, it's for rich and wants divorce to stay rich.
That's bullshit.
Go poor.
I've never understood that.
Yeah, but he couldn't make that, so he started getting jobs that were really not suited for him, and he was already in bad health. That just made him get worse and worse and worse until his resurgent with Whale.
Honestly, it's not even that. Like, Whale is Whale is like the boom. I'm there. I'm good. But really, I start to slowly see him more and more. Like, what was it? I want to say like maybe 2016, 2017. There was like a TV show where he had like a few episodes. I'm like, Brendan Fraser. Then all of a sudden, I see him again. It's
the only reason I watched Doom Patrol.
Yeah, it was Doom Patrol that really put him back in the public eye. And then
You
I
don't
see him in
see
that
him.
Don Cheadle movie, No Sudden Move. And then he's in another TV show. And I'm just like, hey, Brendan Fraser is in a lot of stuff. And then it pisses me off because he was in Batgirl, the movie that was supposed to come out as the villain. I think it was Firefly. And then that got canceled. I'm like, bro, y'all had Michael Keaton as Batman also. So that got canceled. But yeah, The Whale, and then him getting all the awards, he's good now. Honestly, you might as well say he A-list right now. He's back on the top. Now the question is,
he's always
is he
been
gonna be in more roles? Huh?
It's just the politics of Hollywood that ruined him.
Yeah.
That's what it was. But all right, The Mummy. The Mummy, that's awesome, amazing franchise that honestly, if you think, I don't think it would have been considered a good film without Brendan Fraser. If you could, well, just like without Evie Adams, what's her name?
Oh, you talking about Rachel Weisz.
Rachel Weisz, yeah.
Evie.
These movies were created by the cast. The cast.
Honestly, the cast really is what made the film. Because Brendan Fraser, I feel like this is like Brendan Fraser's Indiana Jones a little bit, but it's with the Mummy. Because one, we know he's great with rom-coms, we know he's charming and all that, but then we now see him as an action hero, and he pulls it off perfectly, man. Because like he's still funny, he still has a romance, and he's just kicking ass, man. I love this movie, and when I saw the trailer, I thought it was gonna be a straight up horror. Now it's still a little scary. It still has horror elements. But when I was a kid, I'm like, oh my god, it's about to be so scary. And I'm watching, I'm just like, yo, this movie's awesome. Like, come on. And then the side characters. I mean,
Benny,
Jonathan, Benny. I love Benny. And Benny was just such a he was a snake.
He was a cockroach. But you loved him.
Always found a way to get away, which is what I loved about him. Like when he was sitting there, he was sitting there praying in every religion and every language.
The fact, like, that's the thing that showed how, like, Benny's smart. Benny is smart. Like, you can tell in that moment that Benny's all well-rounded, well-educated. Just something happened in his life to make him so cockroach-ish.
He goes where the air is crisp.
Yeah.
And I got that from The Girl Next Door. I love that movie. So about time I actually can use that. Hey, he knows he knows whether the juice is worth the squeeze. I had to use that too. But yeah, Benny was actually one of my favorite characters, and I hate that he died because I would have loved to have seen him in another movie.
Yeah, because he was I liked him. I liked him because he's a cockroach in the beginning, but it seemed like him and Rick had a good understanding. Rick knew he was a weasel. Rick knew all this stuff, but they still could have that punching dialogue that one up each other. Like him knowing that he basically takes people out to the desert and leaves them to die. Mm-hmm. All this little stuff is like, no, these Americans are smart. They pay me half now and then half when I take them all the way. I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, man, I should have watched. Now I want to watch it. I wish I watched this movie before got on, because now I want to watch it even more.
Yeah,
like, and the special effects. The special effects were good too for that time.
Well, the practical effects.
Practical, yeah, but you got special effects too with the Actually, no, I'm sorry. Those are. I mean, there's practical effects and special effects, because like with the
special effects was primarily the mummy as his skin was coming onto him.
Yeah.
It doesn't look great, but it still holds up. That's the thing. It was like the most of it was practical effects, like all the explosions. The of course the scarab beetles were all CGI, but those things were creepy.
To this day, that's why I hate roaches, because of the mummy, man. Just speaking of that, I knew somebody at Job Corps who had a fear of bugs. And I mean, if you just did this to him, he'd be like, and I would show him the scene of the mummy, and he would spaz out, bro. It was wrong. I look back at it, it was wrong. But 19-year-old Maurice enjoyed that shit, and it was hilarious. Props on you, 19-year-old Maurice. Yeah, but
yeah, so even like the jailer, his role in the film was great. He was just there to collect his earnings. He was just there for that. And the fact that, like, how he went, that was an awful, horrendous scene.
Oh,
because
absolutely.
The scarab beetle explodes, basically it comes out of the blue gold, crawls up his body, eats into him, and the next time you see him, he is running down the hall, screaming, holding his head, yelling at the top of his lungs. He hits the wall and then he falls down. Absolutely amazing shot for shot, just perfectly well done. It make like you even saw Big Daddy was cringing at the whole thing. It's the way it's done was
just think of that going inside your skin. It's like that. You know, you ever had that itch? It's like you know the itch is right there and you're scratching it, but you're not getting nowhere to. That's what that was like. But it's going up and just eating. You probably said all of that. I just don't know. That was That was just brutal.
Remember, it goes up through his body and then eats his brain as he hits the wall and falls down. I mean, it like the whole thing where it's crawling up Jonathan's skin, and then Rick basically grabs the knife and flicks it out. And then
thank God for Rick. Thank God for Rick on that part, man, because that was going to be horrible for Jonathan. I am so glad I didn't get that fit. By the way, Jonathan. Let's talk about Jonathan. Jonathan, what's his name? Something Hannah. I forgot his name. But ever since I seen him in Mummy, every time I see him, I'm like, yeah, my boy Jonathan got where. I saw him in The Last of Us. I'm like, my boy Jonathan, you still doing your thing. That Jonathan, that was like the comic relief you needed. Like, I fucking loved him.
Well, that's the thing that I say, that it was the cast that made it. It was Jonathan in his relationship with his sister. It was Jonathan in his relationship with Rick. It was Rick in his relationship with Evie. It was basically Rick in his relationship with the jailer, and the jailer's relationship with basically Jonathan. Everyone basically had this interconnected relationship that just fed off one another. Whether it was comedic relief, whether it was the romance, whether it was the serious nature, like with the Magi, because every time the Magi showed up,
yes,
and you could feel the tension. And however, you get the whole group together. The Magi is serious. Evie's just trying to learn more. Jonathan is scared out of his mind, and Rick is basically trying to just get out of there. Everyone had their own dynamic, trying to do their own thing, yet they worked. It was basically the getting a group of random strangers together who all have different personalities, and they mesh so well. It was comedic, it was serious, it was romantic. Everything landed immediately. Everything was well written. The cast, this was the perfect cast, because you try to remove anyone, and they tried it. Anyone from the film, and it fails.
That's the truth.
Hard, because if they would have waited a year for her to basically give birth and brought her in to do the film, it would have been so successful. Yeah, because the second you hear her voice, the replacement's voice,
it was horrible.
It's cringe. It's cringe because she's trying to be proper and more elegant instead of the Evie we came to know and love. The one who's somewhat childish, but very smart. The one who knows everything, but at the same time knows not a lot. Like, Rick steals a kiss from her and she starts reading poetic romance books because she's fixated on it. That was, from the jail scene where he kisses her. Then get me the hell out of here. Yeah. She starts reading romance, and it was like, they don't know what they're talking about. They don't know what it is, because she's reading poetry in the boat.
Yeah.
All that stuff. It was just all this little stuff that was just so well thought out, so creative. The characters were just amazingly well done. I even the mummy himself was creepy.
Because what I like about what they do with the mummy in the first one versus what they do in everything else, the first one straight up feels like a horror action. So whenever the mummy pops up, you're tense as hell. You don't know what's going on. Like when the American is after he sends his buddy out for a drink, and all of a sudden he hears something outside the window. That whole scene is just scary. The scene where the dude loses his eyes and then Benny brings him in, like all of that is horrifying. So like this whole movie, whenever the mummy pops up, it feels like a horror. It doesn't feel like action. Eyes. It's not comedy. But then when you get into the second movie, there's nothing horror about it. The mummy comes through and know what he's gonna do. Rick and him go at it and all that good stuff. He sends his mummy troops out. Yeah, like it's action now. But that first one was straight up action horror.
The Rock.
Yeah, the first one was just straight up, action. It was a PG-13 horror movie. You know what I'm saying? Yep. So I love how they did with the mummy. Arnold Vosloo was a great choice. He killed it.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's just like they knew what they had, and what made the sequel so amazing was it wasn't exactly a reboot of the same thing. Because the first one was the first one was horrifying because the entire thing is about the mummy getting all his powers, becoming full. And at the very end, he's in, and then he's defeated.
Yeah.
And then the second one, within the first 20 minutes, he's fully revived. He's fully revived, and he doesn't have his immortality anymore. Remember?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
From him. So the goal is to get the Scorpion King's power.
You're right.
So they continue the story
from where it left off. It's just they have a bunch of the same elements from the first one. Like they repeat some of the same stuff. But the story, you're right, it's not a reboot. They just have a few of the same elements, some of the stuff.
The Scorpion King is the new mummy because he gets resurrected. It's all about him coming to power, and he's the real fear. It's about controlling his army. It was just so well done. They kept the element.
Even Imhotep and Rick had to like stop what they were doing for a second once the Scorpion King came because he was the real threat.
Well, and Imhotep didn't have his immortality anymore.
Yeah.
So he had to bow to someone else. He couldn't take him on because he didn't have the Scorpion King's army yet. All the little nuances that were there were just so well done. The fact that Imhotep at the very end realized that Anck-su-namun never truly loved him.
That was sad.
It was that heartbreak you see in the actor's eyes. That heartbreak, amazing. As he
By the way, I love that they brought back Anck-su-namun, and she was actually there. She was actually in the movie. She wasn't in the beginning or the end. She was now one of the primary antagonists, and I love that because she's the one that resurrects Imhotep. So I love that, and she's going to, and it's more of a backstory with her and Evie, which was awesome because they're connected. So I love that. Actually,
they're sisters.
Mummy Returns really improved on a lot, and it gave more backstory and just a lot more. Now, the CGI for the Scorpion King was fucking horrible.
Oh yeah, that was absolutely awful. But they saved the terrible. Like you were hooked from the very beginning, and then you get to the terrible CGI in the last 20 minutes, and you're like, "Well, the movie was great, absolutely phenomenal." Because even those monkeys, those creepy mummified monkeys. Oh my gosh, those things, they can't pass these. They can't pass these monuments. Are you sure? Yes, I'm sure. Jonathan goes bolting. Absolutely hilarious. Those like honestly, the monkeys reminded me of the don't go into the tall grass from Jurassic Park.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, the second movie where the raptors are basically picking them off one by one. Absolutely phenomenally well done.
Nobody say. Lost Words Jurassic Park goes hard, bro. You got a black chick, whooping a velociraptor's ass with gymnastics? Oh, God, here. You can't top that. You can't top that.
It's one of his many daughters for sure.
Delivery man.
Yeah.
But
go.
Okay.
Go.
And I love that they also, they have a son too. Which, by the way, kid, what you doing? Why you ain't leave the kid at home? Jonathan couldn't take, wasn't Jonathan supposed to watch the kid, or was he doing something?
No, you remember he got the bracelet.
Yeah,
of the mummy on him.
They should have kept the kid at home.
So that's why he had to be kidnapped, because he had already been wearing the bracelet. Mm-hmm. They were going to give it to one of their men who would sacrifice their arm to basically release the army.
And I love the Magi? I forgot his name, but I love his nemesis, the black dude on Imhotep's team. That was my boy. He was on that ass, bruh.
Oh, the relationship between him and their son.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. And look, reading material, he pissed that guy off all the time.
And I love when he stabs the knife between his hands. Whoa, that was a great accuracy. What are you talking about? I missed. No, I loved his character. They brought in some other good characters. I also like the just the one henchman that always dodges everything. And then finally, when they have the monkeys, Jonathan dodges it and he gets hit.
Yeah, Jonathan basically let him to die, making him feel safe.
Dude, even the henchman at the beginning, with the one that's like, oh, this is cursed, that's cursed, this cursed. Like, I love them too. See, that's one thing I give them. They put in some good ass characters, whether they're the main characters or just the side characters that's gonna be in it for 5 minutes. You're always gonna remember them.
Yeah, like there's the whole clapback. What is it for when he's trying to find? It's a bird, a stork, and Jonathan answers to the kid.
It's a stork.
Yeah, and he's like, I know that one. It's Amenephus.
Amenephus. Yeah.
This is just like that's what Jonathan tried to find out in the first movie when he's reading the book of the living. It's just like I can't. It's like Amenephus, and then he remembered that one.
Yeah.
Perfectly well done.
Back to the first one, by the way. I love the when Rick is going against the army, like the guard, like the mummy guards or whatever, and he has to I love that scene because one, they were chasing his ass nonstop. I love the part when he screams at them, and then all of a sudden they scream at him, and the long face is going. He's just like, and just start. I love that. That's what I'm saying. It's horror, but you still get the jokes, you still get the dope action. Yeah, man, I love that scene.
Yeah, and honestly, I know I've brought it up. I'll bring it up again at the end. That would be the way this ends with the chariot and everything would be the perfect way to start the sequel. The modern day sequel. They have it right there. They get the same writers, bring me along to help out because I visualized this many times. What?
Bring who?
Me along. Bring me along.
You said bring Nia along. I'm like, what the fuck does Nia along have to do with this? I mean, I bring along Nia along.
Okay,
but
it's just like the whole chariot basically taking Imhotep's soul, driving through Rick O'Connell, and they could have passed his immortality. Part of his immortality. Did it actually
drive through Rick?
Yeah, if you look at the scene, Rick basically is on the ground as the chariot passes over him, and then he stands up right where the chariot went through. He stands up right there. So it's the perfect way to go into a modern day sequel. He's lived long past his son. He's lived long past his wife. He's lived long past Jonathan. He's feels kind of hollow because everything he's loved is now gone because he's been granted long life. And everyone says they want to live forever, but when the people you've cared about have passed on and you're no longer in relevance and you've been long forgotten by loved ones because you're just, it's not a pleasant thing. It wouldn't be a pleasant thing. Yeah. So he's basically, it starts off with him drinking in a bar.
That was
numbing away his memories.
Yeah.
Probably holding a few trinkets from the original movies.
You were cutting out, sorry. And now just
but I think, and then that's when he's found, and then he's with the mummy issue. I mean, that's what I was hoping they were going to do at the end of the remake. But see, yeah, let's.
I'm glad I've heard you. I'm glad I heard you tell that part a million times because you were just cutting out the entire time. At one point, you were staring at me for like a good 10 seconds. But yes, I agree. That would actually be the perfect way to bring it back into modern, into the modern world, and to that'd be perfect. I looked at the scene again. The chariot didn't go through Rick, but Rick was was close enough to where you could still use that.
Well, the thing is, he's out of frame. He's underneath.
That's true. That is true. You could easily do something
right from the spot.
Yeah,
he just pops up, stands up from right where the chariot went. So
that's true. You could easily do something with that. I mean, they could. Yeah. You know how they always like retcon something. They could easily do that there.
It wouldn't honestly be retcon. It's
just you see him. This is what happens to him when he was out of frame. Easily, boom.
Yeah.
If they were smart, they'd do it. But Hollywood is fucking stupid. They just gonna reboot it with. Let's say they probably reboot it with somebody like I don't know, Tom Cruise.
Tom Holland.
I can see that a young Rick.
Oh my gosh.
He has an accent. Oh yeah, Tom Holland can do an American. He can do an American accent.
Yeah, for Spider-Man.
Yeah,
but it's just like all these the nuances of the show the movie were just so well thought out, and then they had the first one, phenomenal, scary with a bit of action and comedy. The second one, which was phenomenal comedy with a bit of action and then scare when you finally get to the monkeys, and then the third one.
I didn't like it.
It was the cast, the story. Like, I'm not going to lie. The story is there in this one. It's just the cast. Because the cast is so unbelievable, the recasting of Evie destroyed the entire dynamic.
That
Everything.
This is the thing. I don't even know if I like it still if it had Rachel Weisz in it, because it just kind of ruined it for me. Like I look at it, and it's like I love that they have a new mummy this time. You know, get rid of Imhotep, and now you have Jet Li. Now, that's awesome. I love that they have like a bottomless snowman. He also has these powers where he can like turn into like a fire breathing dragon or something like that. He gives him powers, and then Jet Li can just whoop your ass. And they had like a whole little war at the end with like the dead with the dead soldiers. Yeah, like you had like a lot of great concepts. I need to rewatch it again. But like I said, for me, what ruined it for me was the fact that they changed Evie. And it just threw off the whole dynamic for me, because it felt like he just had a whole different wife, and it just took away everything.
Yeah, it felt like there was a divorce somewhere along the line, and then someone took her place, and nobody liked her, because it seemed like even on set, like, I'm not gonna say that they got along or didn't get along with her, but there's a camaraderie with actors who get along offset. Like when they're on camera, they seem to get along. They have a rapport. They just seem to feel like they work together.
Yeah.
In this one, it just felt like she was picked last minute and thrown in the scenes, and the actors had no time to get to know this person, that they were just playing the roles as they were supposed to. The problem is, with a completely different actress, they do need to act differently to compensate for her lack of being Rachel Weisz.
Yeah.
They have to compensate for all that. And they couldn't because it seemed like they didn't have time to actually get to know how this actor acted. They couldn't change their dynamic a bit in order to include this person's overly proper dynamic. And it just fell off hard, because I'm not gonna lie, I enjoyed, like, the only thing that really feels off, if you had Rachel Weisz in it, maybe it wouldn't be as strong of a movie. It probably wouldn't. But still,
maybe it would be. Say that again.
Like if you had Rachel Weisz, it probably wouldn't be as strong of a movie. Like if she was in it, it wouldn't be as strong as like 1 or 2. That seems to go with trilogies. They're never fully, because everyone gets used to certain things, and they were trying something different.
Yeah,
they were trying something different, and I props to them for that. They got Jet Li. They were like, we had enough of Imhotep. Let's bring in because that's when they literally found, like a year or two before, the tomb with all those stone soldiers.
Yeah.
And they were like, you know what? Let's make a movie on this. And it was well thought out. Bringing in like a Chinese powers for that mummy. I mean, all that stuff just seemed to interconnect, because they were going not with Egyptian mythology anymore. They were going with Chinese mythology.
And sorry, go ahead.
It worked, and they should that would be how they would do sequels from then on.
That's what I was about to say. Exactly.
The issue was, because they could easily do that, because there's so many mythologies out there, so many religions.
You do an African zombie.
Like look at what is it? Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones has the Temple of Doom, which was the first was an origin story, kind of.
That was before the first Raiders.
Movie. Yeah, and then it's Raiders of the Lost Ark, which is the first movie that came out, but it's the sequel to Temple of Doom. And then but in the first one, they're dealing with witchcraft, and then they go in, and then the next two, which is the Raiders, and then
Last Crusade.
Israel. Yeah, Last Crusade.
It was Nazis.
They were dealing with Christianity. I like that kind of thing, where you literally bring in everything, and it's like, okay, we've done enough with Egyptian mythology. We've had the same villain for a while. Let's go into Chinese. And after they do that one, they could be like, you know what? Let's have them go after the Trinity spear. Let's have them go after the spear that pierced Jesus Christ's side. Let's go.
Yeah, they could have done. They could have done so much, but that last one just kind of killed it.
Yep. Yeah, and that's the thing.
Even the ending, I didn't like. Oh yeah, what was it? They said Jonathan went to Peru, and then all of a sudden now there's mummies in Peru, and I was just like, okay, I felt like I just threw that off as a joke or whatever, but it's just like. Yeah.
The thing is, it might have landed. Everything might have landed, but it was like every joke fell flat, because Evie was not Evie. That's the thing, because there was a whole hierarchy, not hierarchy, but this group that had been established, that worked, that just 100% we were sold on. It was a family that we were a part of. And then you switched out one of the main people of that family, and it was whiplash to everyone. So immediately with as soon as she opened her mouth, I was disgusted by it. Not the fact that she has a terrible voice. It's the fact that you hear Rachel Weisz playing the role, and then you hear this lady playing the role. And it is night and day. It is not, she's not even trying to emulate Rachel Weisz's character. It's like, oh, I am now given the role. I'm going to bring to it what I feel it should be. And that is the big mistake. I think that was the issue. They didn't rein that actress in to tell her, you need to do this. You need to act like this. Doing that just doesn't work. Or just wait a year.
Exactly.
Just wait a year for Rachel Weisz child to be born and then bring her in. You could do all the shots that don't include her. You could do it without her and then bring her in to include them last minute. She could be all the B-roll footage. Yes, there will be quite a bit, but it would work. I mean, watch the movie with how many shots the new actress is in and be like, okay, yeah, we could do this. We could easily do this. They should, what is it? Deep fake her into the movie. Now, if they did that, it would probably be better. But yeah, that was just not well done. It was honestly, the cast made the movies. And you can tell by the third one that is the absolute truth. Yes, they were well written. Yes, they were well directed. Yes, they were well shot. The practical effects, the CGI was cheesy, but it worked because the story was so in depth. The characters were so lovable, or it just worked. And then you get to Tom Cruise's.
Yeah, did you watch that one?
I honestly have not. I have not. I kept hearing so many bad things. I couldn't get around to watching it.
Okay, so I watched it. I watched it one time since it's been out. I own it. That movie sucked because one, I don't care for Tom Cruise. There's nothing great about Tom Cruise's character. He's just Tom Cruise. Of course, he has honestly, the movie has him running majority of the time. He's running from the mummy. He's not even heroic. He's just running. The mummy herself, I mean,
she fine.
She was all right. She was all right. I didn't care for her. I didn't care for nobody in the movie, even Tom Cruise. The movie just sucked. The action. Oh my god. And then so with this, take it back to Dracula Untold. Dracula Untold was supposed to be the start of a cinematic universe, the Monsterverse, with the Universal Monsters. Dracula, the Mummy, the Invisible Man. Invisible Man was supposed to be played by Johnny Depp. Javier Bardem was supposed to be Wolfman, and Russell Crowe was going to be Jekyll and Hyde. So that was going to be the start. And Luke Evans is Dracula. That movie didn't do so well, so the Mummy was going to be the start of it. And the entire movie, you have Jekyll and Hyde, which is Russell Crowe, and he feels like the Nick Fury of everything. Like he has like this whole little organization where they're trying to like go at these monsters and all that. And it's just like, it felt like they were just trying to like cram all that into this one movie. Like they were really trying to set that up. And I'm just like, can y'all focus on this movie? Because I'm just like, bro, I don't care for this. Like Russell Crowe is Jekyll and Hyde. It might work, but y'all could have like just threw it in a little bit. I didn't care for none of that. And they did have like a little nod to the original, because when they were like running around in his little facility, the chick, she runs into a bookshelf, and then the book of the living or whatever falls on the ground or whatnot. So I'm like, okay, so does that mean that Brendan Fraser exists in his world or whatever?
Yeah. Do we have the better version of this movie?
Yeah, but I didn't care for it. Like, they was really trying, and of course the Mummy flopped. So this whole movie, that whole universe was just scrapped. But I didn't care for it. There was not one character in the movie that I liked. The movie was just boring. And that's how you know it's bad, when a Tom Cruise movie is boring. And there was like it wasn't scary, it wasn't funny, it didn't have cool action. It was just Tom Cruise running away the entire time and screaming. It was pointless. I was thinking about watching it, because even though I only watched the third one like 3 times, I like that one a hell of a lot better than I did the Tom Cruise version.
I'm not saying a lot.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure hell, the Scorpion King movie was better than a Tom Cruise Mummy. That's how you know it's bad.
Yeah, because that's the thing. It's like like I said, you also have Brendan Fraser. Brendan Fraser could easily come back to play the role.
Mm-hmm.
You have an excuse to make him say that he's in modern day times. You have a reason to keep him there. He is the only one that I could believe is playing the Nick Fury role. Heck, you could make the movie based off of him. It would be a sequel. You wouldn't announce that it's a sequel. You just have Brendan Fraser in modern day hunting down Jekyll and Hyde. Basically make it like a what is it? Van Helsing.
Van Helsing, yep, the beginning,
Van Helsing. And he's going to get Jekyll and Hyde, and at the very end, he realizes that Hyde is person. It's Jekyll that needs control. And he ends up reining him in, being the Nick Fury of it. And then he hears about a ghost that is causing havoc in another town. That's how it could end. And guess what? He gets Jekyll a mission to bring in that ghost, which happens to be the Invisible Man. And they could easily seed this stuff in instead of just forcing. Like, that's the thing. In Iron Man, you didn't know there was a Nick Fury character till like what, the 5th movie? Most people didn't know about the post-credit scene. You're not supposed to make it known. You're supposed to just seed this stuff in. Everyone.
Perfect example. Like when you're watching Split, and at the very end, Bruce Willis pops up, and you're like, "Oh my God, is this a sequel? What the hell is going on?" Now all of a sudden, boom! The next movie is now a trilogy because you didn't even know that Bruce Willis was going to pop up. Like, so imagine if you did that with like one of those type of movies, and it's about like one of like the Invisible Man or Jekyll and Hyde, and you got Rick O'Connell pop up because it's Brendan Fraser. How old is Brendan Fraser? Isn't he just like 50?
Yeah, and he's not old.
No, he's not. And honestly, he's gotten in better shape. Did you see him at he's slimmed down. And
well, he's got money now to afford all that stuff, to go to the gym, to get a personal trainer. Now that he's back in the thing. So honestly, because that's the thing, he is living like that would make him what? It was like early 19.
Brendan is 54.
Yeah, he'd be like 100 years old if you brought him into now. And you could easily say that he's just aging slowly due to the fact that he didn't get all the immortality. He just got a long lifespan. He got an extended lifespan. So he's still able to do a lot of stuff because guys in their 50 are still, if they're fit, can still do a lot.
Look at Tom Cruise. Look at Brad Pitt.
Yeah, look at Sisu. That actor is, I think, 60, 70. And he's doing most of those stunts by himself.
Shit, look at Harrison Ford.
Low budget movie, and he just is physically capable to do all that stuff.
Keanu Reeves.
Yep.
John Wick, that's all Keanu Reeves, and he's pushing 60. So
yeah,
age now don't really mean a thing. As long as you're in like good health, good physical shape and whatnot, you're fine. So Brendan Fraser can easily come back as Rick O'Connell.
You have Ryan Reynolds playing Deadpool. They're both in their 50s, 60s.
Ryan Reynolds is like 40.
He's almost 50.
Man, don't you dare. Hey.
He's getting up there. We're old, man. We're old.
He's at least 40. Shit, he's 46?
I told you, he's getting
Ryan
up there.
Reynolds is 46?
Yeah. He's got like 4 girls, dude.
He's 46? I thought Ryan Reynolds is like at least 40. Damn, he's hot.
Yeah, but Secret Wars, if you're talking about the comics,
I saw that. Oh,
yeah,
because it's coming on Disney Plus. Now, I'm definitely watching that.
I haven't even seen the ad for it. Secret Wars? No.
It looks good.
Is it a show? They're literally
Disney Plus.
A show?
It's Disney Plus. It's gonna be like 6 episodes.
I can't stand that because I went to see Guardians 3 with my family. A lot of it made no sense because I didn't watch Thanos and I didn't watch this Christmas special.
Stop,
and I didn't watch
Thanos.
I mean, Thor, Love and Thunder.
That has nothing to do with this. They don't even mention
Thor with the Guardians.
Huh? They don't even mention that. Yeah. And the Christmas special, the only thing that the Christmas special, the only thing that made the Christmas special relevant was the fact that that Peter and Mantis are brother and sister. You don't need to watch that.
Yeah, well, you see that in the second movie anyway, as he's with that race, basically.
And then they mention it. They mention it like, oh yeah, you're his sister. You should talk to him. Oh, what do you say? Just use your hand and make him happy. I am Groot. Hey, I enjoy Guardians.
Yeah, I guess I'll have to watch the trailer for Secret Wars. I'm not sure. Not sure about it. No clue.
Okay.
I'm not a big fan of Marvel right now.
Well, so what did you think of Guardians though? Now that you know that those two have nothing to do with Guardians 3, what did you think about it?
I enjoyed it.
Okay.
I didn't mind it. It was a little whiplashed, but other than that, it was actually a fun, better than some of the movies that have come out for Disney. Other than well, Spider-Man is not Disney, so
Yeah. But honestly, like what I didn't like, and I like Rocket's origin or whatever, but the fact that they took
he's not
out,
there.
yeah, he's not there. He's not there. I mean, we get
For his
he's
movie,
in the
he's not
movie,
there.
but we get young Rocket, and I'm just like, man, this sucks because Rocket is I realized Rocket was my favorite character when he wasn't in the movie, and then when he gets back into the action and all that, and he's like, yeah, and he's jumping all. I'm like, yes, that's the Rocket I miss, because that whole hallway scene that they had with the Beastie Boys playing, that scene was fire. That was actually brutal. Like the kills where I'm just like, oh wow, this is damn. But it was a good movie. And you stayed for the post credit scene, right?
Oh, where they're just all introducing the new family.
No, when he's just sitting there eating cereal. He's just sitting there eating cereal with his grandfather.
Yeah.
But yeah, Guardians was cool, and I do like they could have did more with Adam Warlock, but then again, though, his character was basically the same as how his family was in number 2, how they just pop up out of nowhere and cause havoc.
Yep.
So really, he was just continuing that.
Yeah, I didn't care for, because Adam Warlock is a very powerful, like in the Infinity War, he's basically another challenger for the Gauntlet.
I hear.
They retconned all of that just to bring him in and make him a Guardian.
Hey, don't be rash.
But yeah, back to Brendan Fraser. The Mummy. The Mummy was just an absolute trash when they could have easily done so much more. The issue is everyone's trying
Tom Cruise one, right?
Yeah. Everyone's trying to push all these cinematic universes without establishing one successful movie behind them. They're just like, oh, let's bring in the Nick Fury immediately. Let's have him be the center, powerful focus who gives everyone their missions right away.
Because Dracula Untold was boring. I like Luke Evans as Dracula, but the movie was just boring. It only got interesting in the end when you see he's in the modern world, and then the Dracula that turned him, the vampire that turned him into what he is, was there too. But overall, it was kind of boring. It wasn't bad though. I
honestly enjoyed it.
I enjoyed
it.
I'd probably give it like a 7, maybe a 6.5. I just didn't care for it.
Yeah, it was not a great film, but it's also something you can turn on in the background and still enjoy because it's so slow. You could miss a lot of it and still know what's going on.
Yeah, I don't care. No, I don't like Dominic Cooper as an actor. That was the main bad guy. That was Howard Stark in Captain America. I don't care for him. I just find him boring.
Yeah.
Like he sucked. I mean, then again, everybody's acting was horrible in Need for Speed, but he sucked in that movie. But then again, you could say Aaron Paul sucked too. You know what? I'm sorry. Everybody in Need for Speed sucked. So I'm not even gonna put that on him. Put that on him. I apologize, but I did like Need for Speed.
Apologize.
Only like that movie because I looked at it as Breaking Bad 2, Jesse's Revenge. It came out right when Breaking Bad ended, so that was the sequel in my eyes, and I saw it twice because of that.
Yeah, but it's just like all these franchises trying to create a franchise without having their feet under them. They don't have anything to get people to go like, oh, I want to see this. Because let's face it, actors now don't hold the stardom they once held.
Yeah.
You can't make a movie with an actor and be like, oh, let's go watch this actor. The main issue with that is the main issue with that is a lot of people have learned to hate actors as people. If you didn't know who actors were as people, they'd still hold their stardom. Because ever since Twitter, a lot of people realize that a lot of these actors aren't living in reality. And a lot of people don't want to go see someone who isn't living in reality or tells them to live the life that they are living because they can financially live that life. But when I'm financial, like how can we financially eat whole foods, all this organic stuff when it's like 3 times more than something that's processed? And here these overly wealthy people are telling who
Yep.
have people who cook for them telling us that that's how we need to eat.
You know
Give
what's
me
the,
the money.
you know when I was able to eat the healthiest when I had food stamps. You
Yep.
barely caught me like buying burgers. I'll be sitting there buying shit like turkey burgers. I'll be legit over here cooking. Now that I don't have food stamps and I'm broke, man, I'm over here eating ramen noodles and stuff like that because it's cheaper. So yeah, if I had money, hell yeah, I'd be going to Whole Foods, eating better and all this good stuff. But yeah,
Yeah, but that's the thing is like a lot of people don't like these rich millionaires telling the poor common man how to live their life. It's very aggravating to have someone tell you how to live your life when they're living in these huge 20-room mansions and most people are stuck in one small studio.
yep.
It's just not.
Hey, don't let people know my motherfucking business. What you doing, bro?
What are you talking about? I'm talking about myself.
Is that
I'm
Groot?
in a worse
Is that
situation.
Groot?
Yeah, that's Groot. I have Groot. And I have Baby Yoda over here.
Do I need to go get my Barney? Do Barney need to be in here?
Yeah, keep your Barney right behind you. Yeah.
Honestly, if I had Barney, I'd have him just sitting right here.
Yeah, dude. I mean, having your set have something extra is always nice. Always nice. I mean, look at mine. Mine has mutated over time. It used to be completely empty, and now I have my Lego figures all with lights and just all that.
That's because you got like a. Well, I could probably make a good setup, but my setup trash.
Yeah, just put it behind you. I mean, remember, I had a light bar on the back of my chair in the beginning, just on the back of my chair.
True.
But yeah, guess we can sum it up. The mummy has potential to come back. Brendan Fraser should return as the mummy. They can create a cinematic universe because they technically already have Brendan Fraser's stories backing it. You bring him in as the Nick Fury type of person, or even just a continuation where someone finds him. There could be a lot of little things that they do.
Hey, the Mummy is Universal, right?
Yeah, it's Universal.
So I'm glad I got these glasses on. So you telling me we can get 12 Fast and Furious movies and y'all can retcon everything. Everybody that dies, y'all can bring them back. But you can't sit there and come up with a good story to where Brendan Fraser can come back as Rick O'Connell. Y'all have mystical stuff, you know what I'm saying? Powers and stuff. Fast and Furious don't, but they have powers. So y'all can't think that bring Brendan Fraser back as someone who just has a long lifespan. I don't understand. I don't understand studios. Y'all could easily bring them back, but y'all rather sit there and do 12. And right now, that I'm pretty sure for a fact that, especially looking at how everybody loves Brendan Fraser has come back into the light, won an Oscar, is doing big roles. There was a Mummy screening. I forgot where at. Brendan Fraser showed up in Rick O'Connell, his Rick O'Connell outfit. And everybody was dying. Everybody loved it. It was all over the internet. That's you can't tell me that if y'all brought it back, you can't tell me that people wouldn't go see it. I know for a fact people will go see it.
That's what makes Brendan Fraser such a lovable guy. He's one of those actors who's always been down to earth, knows what the audience wants. So he coming up dressed as his character, fans love it. Keanu Reeves is kind of the same way. He's someone who respects the fans, loves the fans, will never demean them for not seeing his movie or criticizing his movie. Will just accept the fact that it's not for them. Not like the other creators who are like, oh, you're just sexist, you're just racist, you don't support women rights, you don't support black rights, you don't. If a bad movie is a bad movie, that's just stay it. Just accept the fact. Take the L and leave. Don't be telling me what I am.
Speaking of Keanu, before we head out, you know they talking about doing John Wick 5.
I thought he wasn't going to do it.
Okay, I don't know. Okay, I don't know if he said he was. I don't know if he changed his mind, but of course the studio wants it. And of course. And what they're saying is we're going to sit back. They said we're going to sit back for a while, let it rest, and try to come up with some ideas to see if we actually can do a John Wick 5. The thing is, you can't. All 4 movies, as great as they are, the plot has never been strong. It's he broke a rule. Now there's a bounty on his head. The bounty keeps going up every movie. He breaks a rule. That's really all it is. So just leave it alone. John Wick is done.
Story. Beautiful world. Weak story.
You have a world. You have so many people that are just as badass as John Wick. You have Donnie Yen. Donnie Yen wants to do another movie, so you can have it based on his character. They set it up to where the chick that whose father he killed is about to try and kill him. You have a movie right there. You have Winston. You have all these other Continentals. The world is all around. It's not just in New York. It's not just here. It's all around the world. So you can easily just do that. You don't need John Wick.
Nope. Yeah, that's the thing I absolutely hate. Like I've mentioned, I hate about franchises where they stick in the like Brendan Fraser. He did those mummy movies. It was like the 1920s, so he can only do mummy movies from the 1920s. It's that mindset, the whole Star Wars mindset. Oh, we have Luke, Leia, and Han. We can only use Luke, Leia, and Han. Who cares about the literature of Star Wars for thousands of years? Yeah. No, we can. Luke, Leia, and Han are Star Wars. No, that's the dumbest thing ever. Yep. And it's just like the whole mindset of industries trying to capitalize on something that if it ends well, let it end well. Yes, you can make their names relevant. You can bring Brendan Fraser back in modern day times. Just make it something different than what it was. You can make them. You just have to see think outside the box. That used to be the term that was always said. Think outside the box. It seems like Hollywood has gotten so narrow-minded thinking. Like John Wick apparently can only have Keanu Reeves to be considered John Wick. That's why they're having him in a cameo in The Ballerina. It's just like it can only be John Wick if it has John Wick. No, it's a universe. These are universes that are created in. Yeah, like even Marvel seems to have forgotten that. They established it in the beginning very well for their first 2-3 phases, and then they've fallen off. They've gotten confused on what it is to be a franchise, what it is to be all this stuff. They want to stay in what is safe because it makes money.
But then again, when I just keep it safe, we get bored of it. We get tired of it. Yeah. Perfect example. Hangover tried to be safe with part 2. And I was just like, yeah, it's funny. And yeah, I saw it twice. But it's the exact same shit. So y'all really didn't do a good job. Y'all just gave us the exact same story, just in a different setting. It's like, yo, when you have but then again, a Hangover set on these 3 people or 4 people. But when you have a franchise and you set up a good world, then that means you can explore that world. Or The Mummy, when you set up something to where, you're resurrecting people from the dead, there is no reason you have to just stay in that time setting where you can bring back people because y'all had it to where you have people. Evie died, Evie came back. You have powers. You have mummies, so you can easily just have it in a different setting. Like, come on. I mean, hell, if Tom Hanks could sit there and still, live hundreds of years because he let Michael Clark Duncan die in the electric chair, you telling me Rick O'Connell can't come back? Even the rat was still alive.
The Green Mile.
But Rick O'Connell can't come back.
But that's the thing. I mentioned this off camera before. The whole industry, the fact that it all revolves around corporate entities. It's not created by creators. It's not the studios making these movies. It's them going with something that they believe is safe, which is why they're doing all these reboots of animated movies, or sticking with like the fast movies because they've always made money, sticking with something that always makes money instead of trying to be imaginative and stepping out of the comfort zone. If they would have were to step out of the comfort zone and end up creating something like Sisu, it would go well. Yes, a lot of movies wouldn't do well, but give them a less budget, give them a lower budget, be creative. But when you are owned by a bigger company, when it's corporatized, the entire thing, it's not about being creative anymore. It's about making money.
Have you seen Sisu?
Yeah.
How is it?
But the thing is, it's actually really good. It is really good. It's one of the best movies I've seen this year.
Man,
but
is it at theaters?
The thing is, it is just, they have to make money. The problem is they are ruining themselves because they don't know how to be creative. Like, what made these studios so great was their creativity, was their ability to put something on screen that people hadn't imagined before. What they're doing now is just either putting sequels to things that have already been done before or rebooting things that were done better 20, 30 years ago. It's just the issue with the whole thing. The whole thing is no longer creatively run. And when you're creatively bankrupt, there is no room for growth. There should be small groups. Like these companies should create a small segment branch that just creates like indie ideas, different ideas, comes to the table with different things that are given a smaller budget. I mean, heck, even the original John Wick was a smaller budget. And look at how successful that became.
I think the last one had the highest budget with maybe 100 million.
Yeah, it's still small.
Yeah,
it's an action movie. Action movies were always cheap to make. It's just the practical effects that go into it. When you go into like an Avengers where everything has to be CGI, you kill your budget. When you have to do reshoots next because nobody's happy with the end result, that they have to continuously reshoot it and reshoot it and reshoot it, like they did with Miss Marvel, it becomes more expensive. But yeah,
and it's crazy. Yep, 100 million for it cost to make for John Wick. And we're talking about like the budget. Like I was talking with Alex about Fast X, because in order for them to break even on this movie, it cost $340 to make. They need to break between 8 to 850 to be even. And yes, they're at 500 million, but America is getting tired of it because opening weekend it only made 67 million. If you really 67 million for a $340 million movie, that's a flop for the United States. So y'all need to shrink that budget. Y'all need to stop with all these stupid ass action stuff. Like what the I'm watching it. You got Vin Diesel jumping off the whatever it is, I don't know, some type of dam, and then all the fire and everything just looks so fake. You know, everything is just so fake, and I'm just like, yo, people are getting tired of it. Y'all ratings, you know, like y'all looking at 54%. Only half of the people like it. It's to the point where I'm watching it and I'm just like, the best part about this movie is Jason Momoa. Not no action, none of the stunts.
Being a Joker type villain.
Yeah, none of the actions, none of the stunts. I watch it for Jason Momoa because of how he is. Shrink down that budget. Have a good script, have a good villain, and you will be fine. That's what made the Fast Five great, because it wasn't about the stunts. Don't get me wrong, the action and all that was good, but it's the characters, it's the interactions they had. I was loving all of that stuff. But then now it's just more about, you know, it's not even about family. It's about how stupid can we make these stunts. So now y'all raising the budget and y'all getting less return.
They have too many cast members now.
And that's the thing. They keep bringing them back. Spoiler alert for anybody who hasn't seen it. 3, 2, 1. Giselle returns after she died in number 6 from falling off that airplane that was going 125 miles an hour on a fucking, 1,000-mile runway. She's returned without a scratch. Hannah returned. Letty returned. Everybody keeps returning. So y'all cast is getting bigger and bigger. Like, come on, what are y'all doing? So they don't know when to stop with these franchises. They don't.
But
and they're talking about doing two
that's
more.
The thing. It's like the franchises are the safe bet. Being creative is not safe.
Yeah,
it's going to end up being the downfall of these studios in Hollywood.
Oh, absolutely.
It's going to be the downfall.
It's remakes, and sequels. That's all it is. Remakes,
sequels, and reboots.
Yep.
That's it. That's all Hollywood is. The creativity is.
I was looking at the top 10 most anticipated movie for the summer. Like 7 of them are reboots, sequels, and remakes.
Yep.
I'm just like, bro, this is ridiculous. That's why I'm glad that like the movies that I come up with, because I'm thinking about start writing again. They all originals. Yeah, a lot of them are originals. I mean, like, don't get me wrong, there are movies that I wouldn't mind remaking, but they have to be crappy movies. Crappy movies that had a good premise that just failed. That's the only time I feel like you should remake a movie. Don't remake classics. Why are y'all trying to remake Scarface and say, oh yeah, I might have Denzel Washington? Like, no.
What does Denzel Washington come from? Like the African mob boss or something?
I don't know.
Scarface, he was a nobody from Colombia who basically took over the empire.
Mm-hmm. So it's Anton Fuqua, the director of Training Day, was supposed. I don't know if he's still attached to it, but he was attached to it, and he wanted Denzel Washington to play the character. Of course, the name is not going to be Tony Montana. At one point, they was going to have Diego Luna play this Tony Montana. So it's just like, stop it. Stop doing remakes. People still watch Scarface. Scarface is a classic. You don't need it.
Honestly, they could make a ton of money just re-releasing these old films in theaters.
Because I'd go see Scarface in theaters.
Yeah,
I'd go
a
see
lot of people
Goodfellas in
would.
theaters. There's movies that are old as hell, but like I saw Titanic in IMAX when it came out. Like, yeah,
Mhm.
you re-release old movies. Just have it in better quality or something. But you don't have to
Yeah,
remake them because guess what? The remakes going. I'm glad we brought up a remake. You seen the original White Man Can't Jump?
nah. I know the movies are terrible.
No, White Man Can't Jump.
Oh, the
Wesley
original.
Snipes.
I know the original's good. Yeah,
Oh, so you didn't see that one though?
I didn't see
Okay.
it,
Oh
but I
no,
know it was
watch
good
it.
because it was
It's
creative and
actually
actually. Yeah.
it's actually really good. It's funny as hell. Woody Harrelson and Wesley Snipes are great. Rosie Perez is really good, but the remake is trash and it's outdated. They even say it in the movie 100 times. Like, why y'all acting like White Man Can't Jump? We have basketball players. Oh, y'all acting like y'all getting hyped over him dunking. Like we never seen a white man dunk before. Exactly. So why are we making a movie? This is 2023. Why are we making this movie? They went to a basketball court to hustle people, and guess what? There was a bunch of white guys there. So they said, you know what? Let's go on the west side. It's like, yeah, because it's outdated. White people can play basketball. So why even remake it? It's outdated.
Yeah.
It's stupid.
It was funny then because it was just a comedy. Now they're trying to make it something. It's just no.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, that's remakes. They got to stop it. But
we've kind of gone off a bit. So yeah, thank you all for watching.
The Mummy 1 and 2 was great. 3 was the reboot sucked horribly.
They could easily bring Brendan Fraser back. He's always been an amazing actor. I've always loved him in roles because no matter, even if I don't like the movie, him as a character always steals the show. Just like with Journey to the Center of the Earth, love him in the movie.
I love that movie.
Yeah, him and his nephew fighting over one woman, just perfect. Actually hilarious. So thank you all for watching.
It's great that Brendan Fraser made a comeback. I'm glad he took home that Oscar. Honestly, he deserves it. I hope I see more of him. They better release that Batgirl because I really want to see Batgirl for him and Michael Keaton. That's really it.
If it's well done and well written, that's all that matters.
Absolutely.
As long as it's well written. But thank you all for watching. Talk to you next time.
Peace.
Toodles.